Tax reform, we need it. Paul Ryan says it's actually going to get done, Adam Johnson. So what happens to, yeah, I agree it better, and the market's counting on it. But there's been all this talk about the border tax and, you know, members of the Freedom Caucus not being on board with this, the Republicans all in disarray. Is Paul Ryan going to drop that border tax in order to get this through?
Well, if you read between the lines, it looks like he still wants to get it, because the fact is he has said we need to get some sort of tax reform that is revenue neutral, which means if we're going to have cuts on one side, we got to sort of make up for it somewhere else. That implies a border tax. That doesn't even stand a chance. No way. Freedom Caucus,
totally agree with you.
Senate GOP, not going to happen. So for all the headlines that we may be reading about today about the brand new tax plan and the fact that he thinks it's going to get done this year, no way.
I think they're going to drop that, or it's DOA. Yeah. Mercedes?
You know, I think that there's definitely a sense of optimism here in Washington that they are going to go full steam ahead in passing tax reform in the fall. Now, with that being said, we have the reality that they're trying to shove through this American Health Act, the Health Care Act, which is the repeal of Obamacare, through the Senate. They want to get that done first because that helps to provide a better baseline for the tax reform bill. With that being said, I do believe that the border adjustment tax is pretty much dead upon arrival, even when it gets to the Senate. The administration doesn't want it. I just don't see where it goes.
I hope so, because I hope there are more creative ways to deal with some of the challenges that we're facing structurally in this economy, other than just, you know, throwing tariffs on things and running yourself into a Smoot-Hawley 1930s-esque type of situation all over again. Erin, I want to go to you because tax reform, as Mercedes said, is a biggie. They want to get, forgive me, not tax reform, repeal and replace health care reform. They want to get that through so that they then have some of the power to push forward tax reform. Chuck Schumer, very upset, feels like, you know, the Dems aren't going to have a long enough time to look at this.
He's always upset, by the way, Trump.
Yeah, it's
right?
true. We should qualify that, right? Good point. So where does that leave them? Are they just going to completely obstruct in this process and not participate in the debate at all?
I think Democrats are thinking that for Republicans, it's a moment when President Trump's campaign promises are coming due. And that goes all the way down the line, from health care to tax reform to immigration reform. And of course, there are a number of impediments in the way now, including this looming Russia investigation. So Democrats, I think, may be trying to hold the ball a little bit in this game. They might see that Republicans, if they can't get anything done, start to wither their support a bit.
When you say hold the ball, does that mean dangling the Russia thing, like, still out there,
well,
which, by the way, drives me nuts? Mercedes, because how long? I mean, it's been at least 6 months, right?
You have to, right, but let's understand there's only like 45 days left of the legislative calendar, and it's a heavy load for the Republicans. And what the Democrats are doing, and I spoke to a GOP chief of staff today who mentioned to me that what the Democrats are doing, they are obstructing using procedural maneuvers, basically, in the Senate. So anything that would pass normally, like through unanimous consent, won't even get through. They're slowing down nomination process. They're trying to obstruct in terms of slowing down on committee hearings. This is very problematic for Republicans to get any work done in the Senate, and it's very much the plan of the Democrats to ensure that nothing gets done by Republicans before the...
So does this help them politically, Erin? I mean, look, Americans are so frustrated right now with Washington, D.C. They're so frustrated with members of Congress. If you're seen as obstructionist, how is that going to help you? And by the way, they're doing this for their own self-interest. Let's not forget. They don't want the Republicans to get anything done because
take a look at
that might actually be good for the economy.
Legislative calendar here. If you look at how the next couple of months are going to unfold, right now, of course, the House and the Senate are going to try to make good on that promise to repeal and replace. Come the end of September, they have to figure out how to fund the government. They have to figure out how to raise the debt ceiling. This is going to require cooperation from both parties. Otherwise, they hit a stalemate like we saw in 2010. That wasn't good for anyone. That's when you saw Congress's approval rating dip down into those single digits.
Well, in fairness, I think we've learned that lesson, and we don't take it. It's almost like the boy who cried wolf, right? When they say, oh, well, we have to pass a penciling, or we have to pass a budget resolution, they do it. It may be at the 11th hour, and it's not pretty, but they get it done. Yeah, the real issue is, can they actually get all Republicans, because they can only afford to lose 2 Republicans on a health care vote in the Senate. If they can do that, they can finally make good. The GOP can make good on getting something done. And as you point out, Erin, you're absolutely right. It also cuts 3.5% off the top tax bracket. So they can say, oh, we also did some tax reform, too. They need this.
Yeah, they need to come together. It's a very important point. We'll see whether or not it can happen.